are live on the Metal Voice. First time on the show, Alan. First time on the show.
The attack.
I'm
James
not a virgin.
Kottak.
So you guys are like virgin killers. Oh.
Let's not go on to that album cover.
I know. I still can't believe
It was a big mistake. That's what Julie said.
I mean, yeah, you don't see that in a record store, but there aren't any record stores, so whatever.
Yeah.
James
All right.
Kottak.
Yes.
Here on the Metal Voice, first time guest. It's an honor, and everybody's looking forward to the show. Glad you're here.
You get a double. Yeah,
That's right. You get the double horns right there.
Yeah.
That's it, double horns. So, former Scorpion drummer.
Yep.
Kingdom Come.
Yep.
Founder, right? And still carrying on with the band. And you know what? Look at this.
Oh,
New
right.
Revenge. Remember this sucker here?
I know that. You know what?
Remember that
that album
sucker?
is so great. A New Revenge album. I'm very proud of it. I think it's great.
I mean, where do we begin? James, I guess the first question is, what have you been up to?
Well, we Scorpions, we parted ways the end of 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And it was amicable. I'm still friends with the guys and everything's good. And then let's go back to about 2010. We were playing around and I went to Lenny, the original singer for Kingdom Come. We met up in Hamburg. He would come see us. And I was like going, cool, because we did it was Kingdom Come, Alice Cooper, Scorpions tour of Russia. And we did probably about 12, 13 dates. So I was seeing him a lot. And man, he's just still great. Always has been. And I was like, oh, well, we announced our retirement, Scorpions. This is 2010. So in 2-3 years, I'm gonna have to have something to do. So I was gonna work on my band at Kingdom Come, getting up, talking to all the people, and it was gonna be the original lineup. Then, gosh, I get a call one day and it's like Klaus saying, "Hey James, we decided to not retire. We're gonna make another record." I'm like going, yes, on one hand, and I was like going, oh my God, look all the stuff I'd done on the other hand, because I had a New Revenge with Kerry Kelly and Tim Ripper Owens, and I was working on my band and gonna do Kingdom Come. That's 3.
Yeah.
And but so I went back to Scorpion Land, which I'm thrilled to death still to this day. And then finally we did part ways in the 2017, and I was already kind of working on it, but honestly, I needed a break. So I took about a year and a half and kind of just said, I'm staying home. I go swimming every day. I take my walks and go do this, ride my bike. And it was wonderful. But the show must go on. So I was like on Kingdom Come. So we picked that up. And next thing you know, Lenny calls me one day. I had some shows booked and says, you know what? I changed my mind. I think I don't want to do it. I'm like, going, what? Like, wow. So it's the original 4 guys, me, Johnny B. Frank on bass, Danny Stagg on guitar, Rick Steyer on guitar, and me. And I pushed really hard from the beginning to get Keith St. John to take Lenny's place. If anybody knows anything about Keith St. John, he's phenomenal singer, really cool human. And, it just kind of fell into place. So we went and played some shows, and here we are, COVID.
Yeah.
2020, we had probably about 40 shows booked, which doesn't sound like a lot, but the planet is pretty big and you got to get from point A to point B, and a lot of flying and all that. And then everything got put on hold, as you guys know.
Yes.
So we picked it up in 2021. Out of those 40 shows, maybe 15 of them got rebooked, and a lot of people went under. So we played about 4 or 5 last year. And it is what it is. We're trying to figure out our next move.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So this could lead to
that's a wrap.
record.
And that's a wrap for the show today.
Good talking to you guys.
Thank you.
See you later.
Wait, you're hoping to land a record deal? It's not just touring on.
Well, no, I mean there's a couple it's not what it used to be, where you could go and get tons of money and go make an album and everybody get to shove some in their pocket. You get enough basically to do an album and do it right. Plus, even if you go out to tour, we got to pay most times our own expenses, everything from flights to sometimes hotels and this and that. And, we could make an album, but, I like to do it the right way. We could, my really good friend has a great studio, and I've recorded a few albums there. And it's just, like I said, the COVID thing sent us for a loop. But we're kind of talking about it, pitching around some ideas and stuff, and we'll see.
Okay. Let me ask you this.
Yes, sir.
I remember, I'm going to repeat myself because I say this in other shows. Greta Van Fleet, they come out, right? And everybody's going, great band, but they sound like Led Zeppelin.
Right.
But Alan and I remember when Kingdom Come came out. It was like the same friggin' deal. It was the exact same thing. Not that you sounded like Led Zeppelin, but you kind of borrowed that sound, we'll say, right?
Well, you had a vocalist that.
What do you say to Greta Van Fleet people? What do you say to them?
I'll tell you what, they're a great band. I saw clips of them live, and I've never seen them live, but man, they're like great. Who cares? And see, watching it from this side, and not from being in the band, I'm like, oh, those guys handle it great. It's like, oh, what are we supposed to do? This is what we're into. We may sound a little bit like that. They're a great band, and they sound great, and they have their own trip. So. Man, I always said earlier, or years ago, back in 1942, I think it was, if you're going to be compared to somebody, be compared to the best, and when we were getting those comparisons to Led Zeppelin, I was like, oh, this is awesome. Unfortunately, our singer, he didn't like that at all. And he tried to avoid it and kept saying, no, we don't. Why are you saying this? The interview's all. And I'm like, let me just say thank you.
Baby. Didn't he do that?
Hey, man. He's not the only guy.
He's just doing the same thing as Robert Plant. Come on.
Hey, I wasn't.
And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but if you're gonna sort of get that vibe of it, be prepared for the criticism, right?
Yeah, well, everybody's different in that thing, and I would have just said, "Thank you very much." Are you kidding?
Exactly,
oh, that's great.
Exactly.
And that's what I said because I was, I played that Led Zeppelin 4 8-track tape about 10,000 times, and that's how I learned how to play drums. So I'm the first to say that. You kidding?
Embrace it. Funny, embrace your influences. Go ahead, sorry, Alan.
Back in the day, I think Ozzy and Gary Moore wrote a song called Lead Clones, and I think they were targeting you guys. And it was, you guys were vilified. And basically it was, Lenny Wolf's voice had some similarities, but the music was completely different. And I still love that second album. I listen to it all the time.
I do too. And that's what we were doing when we started back up again here just a few years ago. We're playing songs from the first album and the second album. And some translate better live and some don't. And the second album we did with Keith Olsen was phenomenal. The first one we did with Bob Rock, who everybody knows now. And man, I love it. That's why I came back to it, because I'm like going, I can do whatever I want. I couldn't do my band. I kind of did it. I did four albums of my own, toured and stuff. But man, it's a tough thing to get it. We had to deal with a European label and stuff. And the money's just gone downhill. To do it right, you really got to spend some money, or you're going to get an album that doesn't sound like a great album. And I'm all about being great, I think.
I'm getting questions in the chat, and if you're okay, we could take them if you want. And and sometimes you can show your side of the story too, right? K-Man saying, I want to know about what James thinks about the Scorpions' legacy.
Is legacy, you mean like their history and everything?
Well, he should be a little more specific in the chat.
I was gonna say, did the Scorpions put out an album called Legacy that I don't know about?
Here, let me look. Cool to see James with his long hair.
Oh yeah. Speaking of, I need to chop this off, man. I got really lazy about a year ago and just said whatever, and so now I'm like cousin it.
All right, I want to know how James became such a showman from behind the kit. Who were his influences?
Man, you know what? My main influences was Don Brewer, the drummer from Grand Funk Railroad. Still so underrated, that band. And of course, John Bonham. And you know, Tommy Aldridge was on Don Kirshner's rock concert in the mid-70s with Black Oak, Arkansas. And man, he was just phenomenal. He's all doing this, he's doing that, he's playing drums with his hands. He was just going nuts, knocked this over, knocked that over. And I'll never forget it till it's like imprinted into my brain. And so when I was playing in clubs, which was a lot from about 79 onward, I was in bars 6 nights a week, 5 nights I mean, 6 nights a week, 4 or 5 sets a night sometimes. And man, you play and you're playing cover songs or playing the same stuff. So I just got in the habit of kind of flipping around because I don't want to say out of boredom, but you just invent new things. And when I started getting a response on it, I said, okay, I'm going to do this and go nuts. And then it just kept going. And when you're in a club situation, everybody notices it. So, hey man, I like the attention.
No, I mean, watching you guys live, last time you were here in Montreal with the Scorps, and we were there, and you can't keep your eyes off of you when you're playing. No matter
what you say?
Back to you.
Can you repeat that? No, thank you. I know I'm really flattered because I mean sometimes thank God we got video screens and lights and this stuff blowing up and everything, but yeah, man, we're putting on. It's called a rock show for a reason. You're showing off and doing whatever it is you can do to entertain people. Because I know when I go see, man, I love going to see Kiss. I saw them just a few years back. They're great. They're better than ever. They put up the best show in rock and roll.
Here's K-Man wants to know, and I guess I should clarify the question. It's not the Scorpions' legacy, is his legacy in the Scorpions. K-Man wants to know what do you think about your legacy in the Scorpions? You've been in the band 21 something years, right?
God, you're good. Yeah.
You took over for Herman. You took over for Herman. Hey, we need a drummer here. Herman's out. You're in. What's going on?
Oh, well, I recorded a lot with Keith Olsen. Keith Olsen produced the Crazy World album. That's the one with Wind of Change and all that on it. And I'd already done probably 4 albums with him before for other people, and he did the second Kingdom Come album. Anyway, I'd go and hang out because the studio was like a mile from my house. I'd go visit, say, hey guys, and I'd already got to know the Scorpions on Monsters Rock tour and all that. And then, I was hanging out, playing, doing this. I had my own band called Wild Horses. I think our album went nickel. I'm just the phone rang one day, and it was the manager. Hey, this is the manager of Scorpions. And the guys want to know if you'd like to come over and have a play. I'm like going, oh, sure. And what am I going to say? No to the king. And so I flew over, man, and it's always much cooler in those situations. I already knew the guys pretty well. I'd done the third Macaulay Schenker album, so I got to work with Michael. And rock and roll is a really small world, and it just fell into place. And all those years, I think, of playing in bars, in clubs, and I mean, I'd already played Rocky Like a Hurricane, Big City Nights, the Zoo, and No One Like You 1,100 times. So when I went in to play the first time, I was like, going, "Oh, this is great," And
do you remember like a few songs in rehearsal?
Oh yeah, of course, Rocky Like a Hurricane, Big City Nights, and the Zoo, of course. Just the ones I'm like, oh, this is great. And I remember we did not play No One Like You because they didn't want to play it for some reason. But it was great. And then we started working on some new material right off the bat. And I hung out and we got on. And then they called and said, hey, do you want to do this upcoming tour? And that was in support of the Pure Instinct album. And that started in May of '96. And it went on, gosh, forever that year, up until Christmas time. So, and after that, then, they said, well, it looks like things are pretty good. But they never really say, hey, you're in the band.
Oh, yeah. Who was that? There was somebody else who said that. We never got said, yes, you're in the band. Was that? It was Michael Kiske.
What's that?
Michael Kiske from Halloween. He kind of rehearsed with the band, but they never officially said you're in the band. You just kind of went along.
It's a thing. But I mean, I felt great about everything. But when the tour ended, it was not like, okay, we'll see you in February. It was like, all right, have a nice Christmas. But everything did continue on, and they call, then it was like on, hey, we're going to make another album, and that was the I to I album, I to I can't even say that album. So went over, we did it in Austria, went over, hung out a lot. I'd go over there for like 10 days at a time, record some tracks, and everything was being written as we went, which is a luxury because it's very expensive in the studio. And it was phenomenal, man. And I got to have a lot of input on that. Not so much the loops, because I wasn't a fan of that, but the songs were great, man. If you dissect those songs and maybe re-recorded them a different way, it would have been great. But the climate,
that was the biggest complaint at the time. Yeah, that
was
the biggest. That was the biggest complaint at the time, sort of the loops.
Yeah, but everybody was kind of doing it because to try to stay relevant, we have to go with this. I mean, everybody, and and producers, pushing you in one direction, and he's like, oh no, but this is what everybody's doing, or but no, it's like, but you got to try to balance it, and I felt it was too unbalanced. But the songs are great.
There you
go. Mm-hmm.
21 years later.
Yeah, I know. It kept going, and then we did the orchestra album, the Acoustica situation, and one thing I'm fortunate, and in this department, I'm able to play any genre, and that's from all my years of I went to University School of Music for 3 years. I mean, I didn't sleep for 3 years because I was at school all day, and then I was playing in bars all night, sometimes commuting. And I'd go to bed at like 4 a.m, get up and be at school at 8:30. So,
yeah. Tell me about, I guess, the Unbreakable. Then you're at Unbreakable, right?
Oh yeah,
that was a return to sort of. Did you tell them, hey guys, man, we got to really? I could see you're the new guy. You don't want to stir the waters on Eye to Eye, right? Like we're doing some loops. You're like, okay. I'm gonna bite my tongue here. We're doing a little, okay. I'm the new guy. All right.
Yeah, but no, it was actually Rudolph was mentioning a few things here and there. He's like, we got to make an album and get back to our roots. And I was like, yeah, let's do that. And sure enough, man, we'd go down to Rudolph's basement studio and kind of jam around. And he had all these ideas and stuff. And then I get a tape, and then we would do some more. And then he put scratch vocals on his things, and then Matthias wrote some things, and Klaus, of course, the voice from heaven, and it all just kind of came together. And I thought Unbreakable was a phenomenal album. It was very rock and very true to form of what you would think Scorpions when you say get back to the roots.
When you're in a room with the Scorpions, like, I mean, what's that feeling? Like here's there's Rudolph, and they're just jamming away. Is it like unreal? Is it surreal? Like these guys, man, have been around.
I pinched myself thousands of times, like, I mean, especially in the first few years. But you get to be, friends with people, and once you're in a band with them, it's like being married. And but I was always like going, like, wow, this is great. And every aspect of that band, I was able to contribute to, be involved with. It wasn't just like they'd have their secret meeting and whatever, and they'd be, looking at artwork and album cover stuff and pictures and photos we did and stuff. And I was welcome to always kind of look right in. However, I also knew better than to overstep my boundaries. So I was, felt like, but now I'm a part of the band, and I could say this, or you stop in the middle of the song and go, hey man, what if you did this or whatever? And they same vice versa. So it was pitch.
When did, and again, if I'm overstepping here, tell me, and you don't have to answer, like when the drinking came in, right?
It was always there, but
did it get worse over the years? And
no, I mean, when my ex-wife was pregnant with the third child, during that, she wasn't drinking, so I wasn't drinking. So there's many times over the years where I didn't drink, for like from 2008 to the middle of 2010. It wasn't like I'm walking around with a bottle of vodka in my hand sloshed. It was just like, if you're out or wherever, or we're out as a band or whatever, everything's on the house. People are always coming up with you and going, hey man, I got you a bottle of this, I got you a bottle of that. So yeah, man, I overindulged a few times, as do many people. I'm not saying it's right. And it was just it wasn't like I couldn't play. I mean, I was sweating everything out like crazy. And, but yeah, of course. And see, when you read stuff like that in print.
Well, I want you to clarify all these things. I want you to clarify everything.
Yeah.
I'm giving you a platform to clarify this.
I'm clarifying. About the time everything was pretty cool. I had one incident where I was taking what's it called? Antidepressants because I could not sleep, and doctor prescribes me whatever. So I'm taking it for a couple of months. And then one day I took whatever. I'd usually take it around 4:00. So I'd be whatever. And about 7, I go, I can't remember. And I took it again and had a few drinks. And so I was a little woo. And that was one show that I remember that was just not happening. But other than that, it was just a steady stream of you just kind of hang out and have a few drinks or a few more, but it is what it is. It just always sounds worse when you read it or read about it in the, whatever the way, or you do an interview and somebody takes it and twists it the whatever way and stuff. And 21 years is a long time to be in a situation like that. And it just kind of, several years before we parted ways, the main manager who had been involved for like 12, 14 years passed away. Tour manager passed away. And it was like everything kind of changed a bit. Not for the worse, I would say. It just changed a lot. And I don't know. I felt like I was kind of more on the outside at that point. So, but other than that,
do you find it was more of like I'm partying too much versus, man, I'm starting to get this alcohol problem? And we all have friends who've had addictions, right? You're not alone if it was that case. We've all had friends,
I'd say a little bit of both, because there's so much downtime. I commuted to Europe forever, and I'd go over there and maybe rehearse on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or a Sunday, Monday. We would play that weekend on Friday and Saturday. So I've got 4 days to kill. Fortunately, I like to exercise. I like to cruise around. I like to stay occupied. And we have there's this new thing called the internet. Oh, but thank God for all
it's a
that.
Fad.
Kept me out of love. But sometimes, what?
It's a fad.
It'll never
last. It's like the hula hoop.
Or as Al Gore called it, the interweb. We invented the interweb. So right. All in all, we have our ways, and like I said, man, I would just not drink for a while and never really went anywhere until 2016. I did go down to Antigua to Eric Clapton's Crossroads, and I was going to go down there for 30 days. And then they asked if I wanted to stay 2 more weeks. And there was only like 12 of us at the place, and it was beautiful. And there was a trainer 3 days a week, and swimming every day. And the counseling you had one-on-one. There was like 6, 7 counselors for 12, 14 people. So you were always learning. Everything was, this, that, meditation, yoga, you name it. So I got a lot of that, ended up staying there like 92 days or something.
And I mean, do you think today when you look at yourself, you go, you know what? I do have a problem. I do have an addiction.
Oh yeah. First to say, yeah, I'm an alcoholic. You know why? Because I like to drink. It makes me feel good. Where does it end? And I'm not the only one, but I'm not saying blaming anyone else but myself. But it's like when you have the gene, it's so to speak. That's what in a lot of the meetings I've been to, the gene is like it's something that's born in you. I mean, I've cruised for years. I mean, everything was cool and blah blah blah. Just in a really weird way, I took a couple years and didn't drink. Another year I didn't drink. Year and a half didn't drink, and then I'd start back up slowly, of course. And in a way, that might have been a mistake, because if I just kept drinking, it wouldn't have been a big issue. I don't know. I'm not condoning it, though. Kids, don't try this at home.
No. Look, I mean, I used to smoke cigarettes, and it was like the same sort of process. You stop, you start, you stop. It's like a learning thing.
Oh my God, my ex-wife, it was endless. And my thing was, because I've always come in anti-smoking. You could do whatever you want. Just just don't like it around. But she'd go, "Hey, will you pick me up some smokes at the store?" And I would go, "No." And I tried that about 50 times, and it was just hell to pay after that. So I'm going, I'd be going out the door. I go, "Hey, you want some cigarettes?" Anyway.
Or get a really comfortable couch.
Yeah.
What's that?
Get a really comfortable couch if you're going to say no.
I was really good friends with that. And since I paid for it, I thought, well, I'll get to know it even better.
James.
Yes, sir.
Like the headline yesterday in Blabbermouth, and I'm just going to say it, you know, like Mickey D was sort of in the waiting, watching the shows. Did you ever get that sense that, man, something's not right?
Honestly, no. But I mean, if you're going to replace me, get somebody really good. Mickey's a great drummer. I met him when he started with Don Dokken, and great guy. And I've seen him play with King Diamond. Over the years, run into each other. So like I said, I was in Antigua at the thing, and I talked to the guys about once a week or so, but I never had any indication that anything was going to change. And that because that year also, there was only a handful of shows booked for the whole year. It was only like maybe 10 shows. So a couple went by, and they got some kid from Greece to fill in. And then they kept going, "Man, you've got to stay there all you want." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I did, and everything seemed cool. And then I came back to LA in July, and we didn't talk about splitting ways till like November or something. So I was actually really surprised about that. And but they're smart guys, man. They got a business to run, and as they would say, they're in their twilight years, so to speak, and they just didn't want to take any chances on any trouble. I don't blame them. So I said,
"That's a good attitude. That's a good attitude."
Yeah, man. They're smart. They've been at it,
man. But it must have hurt, though. It's like the Scorpions, man. It's
I know.
Scorpions, man.
Of course it did. But I was really surprised, taken off guard.
Yeah,
and guy, I think we were on the phone that day for like 2.5 hours, going back and forth and stuff. And but they were so good to me, man. Like that.
Yeah.
That's why, like, aren't you pissed off? Why would I be pissed off? It just is what it is. It's like, that's why somebody goes, "Well, why did you guys get divorced? Or you and your wife get divorced?" Well, why do you think? We didn't get along, or she punched me in the head, or who knows,
Yeah.
But what's the dynamic? Is it like Klaus and Rudolph, or Klaus, Rudolph, and Matthias, and the others are considered sidemen, or like you said, you were able to contribute? Do you think that's still the case moving forward, or?
I mean, it's, of course, Klaus and Rudolph and Matthias, they're the three amigos right off the bat. In a situation like that, when to not overstep your boundaries, and especially you learn a lot from being on the road. We're on the tour bus, we're on the plane, we're talking constantly. And my contributions to some of the songs that I co-wrote were mostly lyrics and arranging. And on Unbreakable, I co-wrote 4 songs, I think. And one of them, I wrote the lyrics to, and Klaus didn't change a word. I was like going, wow. Okay, but that took a little getting used to. And when you're writing lyrics for a guy like that, you have his voice in your head, and you've already got the track. It's pretty easy to do, But it's still, I wouldn't insist on anything. You just kind of go, okay, cool.
I was watching the Moment of Glory DVD the other day, and I called Jimmy, and I'd like to get your impression. Matthias Jabs is his guitar tone. How come nobody ever talks about this guy as being one of the greatest guitarists around? Just his tone alone is unbelievable.
It's a mystery to me, because the guy is phenomenal. He's one of the very best guitarists I've ever played with or known or whatever. I mean, he's up here with all the other greats. And
he's so fluid.
I don't know what it is. But, the whole band's great. Everybody in the band's good at what they do. And Matthias is outstanding, I think.
What about, here's another question. What are your favorite songs from the Uli John Roth era? So many great songs.
We did a medley of 4 songs, and one was Steam Rock Fever. I believe that was with Uli. And What are the other ones?
Speedy's coming.
Ding, 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 ding. Yes. And a few more. Those were like at the top of the list of songs from that era.
Catch a Train.
Yeah, thanks. God, that's good. There's three. There's one more or two more from that.
He's a woman. She's a woman.
Yes.
He's a man.
Yeah, I love that song.
We'll get them. We're gonna nail them.
We're gonna nail them all.
Wow, I know you guys know more than I do. And but man, Uli was phenomenal, man. And I didn't really follow Scorpions up until the early '80s. Matthias was in, and their songs were on the radio 24/7. And I couldn't afford to go out and buy an album every time something cool came on the radio, so it was just on the radio all the time here. And but man, what a great this part of Scorpions with Uli, this part of Scorpions with Matthias, and it's just like wow.
And Schenker, you forgot about Schenker.
Oh yeah, and and it's
Drive.
Wow, what a group of guys.
Yeah, and you played with him too, which is amazing.
I know.
Alan?
No, I just
come back.
That's it. Just some recent comments that really quite came out. Mickey D's very, very complimentary in all the interviews of your playing, but he had a gut feeling that you had a sense that something was going on, and we're here learning today that wasn't the case at all.
Not what I said, not one bit, because had I known something was going on, I would have checked out after the 30 days that I agreed to go down there to Antigua, because there were 2 shows I wasn't going to do it, and I'm not sure if he filled in or whatever, but that's all we got. And there was we were talking all along, and there was never indication of any that we were going to part ways. But I understand.
All right, we got a question on Dubai. Let's clear this all up. Dubai, what happened in Dubai? Let's clear this up. Let's clear it up here and now. No more headlines and this, that.
Okay.
Hear what happened?
Okay, so me and Pavel were flying from somewhere in Russia to Bahrain. It was our final destination. We had a layover in Dubai. And I hadn't been drinking at all. And it was a long ass flight. I could not sleep. I had a few glasses of wine, get off the plane. And my compadre bass player, Pavel, he's always telling jokes. So we tried to get around. It was just he and we never travel alone. This is why musicians don't travel alone. Always have someone. And
the buddy system.
We get off the plane and we go to one area, and we're in this room, and there's probably about 100 people in there, and everybody's milling about, whatever. And Pavel keeps cracking jokes. And man, I can't tell jokes, but he tells them, and they're really funny. He goes, "Hey James, da 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 da." And I'm like, "Oh my God." Well, that's not a good thing to say anywhere, and not so much that. But then I go, "Man, something ain't right here. We should be getting on one of these buses to go." So I went over to ask the chick at the desk. I go, "Excuse me, look at our ticket. And are we in the right place?" And she goes, "Oh no, you're in the wrong terminal." I go, "What the F?" Like that. Didn't think anything about it, because I don't usually cuss at all. I don't ever. But we were like she goes, "And if you don't run, you're gonna miss your plane." We're like, "Oh, what are we doing? How do we get here?" So Pal and I got our gear. We started to head out the door, and here comes police. And I guess she didn't know that term. She thought maybe I was doing it to her, and I'd never do it towards anyone. And they started talking to me, and they said, "Here, come over here." Then we went a few steps further, then a few more steps further, and all of a sudden there's like 3 or 4 cops around me, and they just kept questioning. I'm like, going, "Guys, what's going on? There's nothing going on here. I just, I'm just pissed because we're going to miss our flight." And from there, they just went on, and then, and knowing at this point we were going to have to fly the following day anyway, so they took me in the airport to like this police area, and they start talking to me. One guy's just sitting there like, yeah, because their English isn't so good, and so they kept me over, and there was one American guy in the place, and so it's not like jail like you see on TV. This place is kind of open and stuff. And he goes, "Oh man, dude, you'll be out of here tomorrow." I go, "Oh, that's good news, because we got a show in 2 days and I can't mess it." And it didn't happen like that. Nobody would give me any information. Nobody would tell me nothing. I had management calling, so I hung around, and that's really about it. I mean, it's.
Was that a month?
No, I ended up being there 33 days.
Wow.
And then what's really crazy is I didn't really get to see anybody. I mean, some lawyer guy came and some other lady from the government came and they were talking to me, and I go, yeah, but what's going on here? They go, oh, you have a court date. I go, yeah, I've been here now, 5-6 days. Yeah, it's in another 8 days or 10 days, something like that. I go, what's going on? At that point, I missed the shows, and I was like, oh, Jesus.
You didn't say what the another 10 days.
And being in a Muslim country, you should probably not say Jesus either. And so it just went, went to court, and they go, oh yeah, you're getting sentenced to 28 days. Well, this time I'm already there, 20 days or 21 days, whatever. So they moved me to another place, and I got out and split and never looked back. But
what was the charge at the end of the day? Just like public swearing, or
what's the terminology? Something towards woman, lewd remark towards woman.
That was the charge.
Terminology, alcohol, whatever it ended up being. Just
were you inebriated at the time, or like?
No, I was probably halfway there, but we were just laughing and kind of like going whatever, and just sit there waiting for this flight that we weren't going to get on, and
they were the wrong terminal.
Exactly. Like I said, musicians never travel alone. So that.
Did you get it like that one phone call? Like, guys,
oh no, I got
Klaus, get somebody over here.
No, I called management, and they did what they could do, and there wasn't a lot because it's a whole different world, man. Even though and what I didn't know is Dubai changed. We played there twice, I think, and it was like party central. Are you kidding? But then they changed the laws, and all the private places like Hard Rock Cafe, Planet Hollywood, all of them closed down, and you could only have a bar within a hotel or something like that. And the second you walk out of the hotel, you're breaking law. You have to physically get a license to drink. I'm not kidding. So we didn't know that, and we didn't think it had changed or anything. And so, things happen, man.
Yeah, you know what? You gotta, I guess, whatever we think of their laws, we just gotta respect their way of life, right? I mean, that's just what it is, right?
And what I found out later, what they were doing is because when you're in the airport, you're in the neutral zone. They can't, whatever. They were walking me here, then they were walking me there. Then they walked me to the doors to go out of the airport. And then they were able to lock me up, or whatever you want to say. But it's not like it is here.
It wasn't like a Turkish prison or anything like that, or was it like just a room?
I mean, no, it was
for 30 days where there like some mean-looking dudes in there, or what?
Yeah, it was every nationality. But the guy I met, the American dude who was there, he was a big burly dude, and I became friends with him right away.
There you go.
And but it's not that type of vibe. It was really kick back and as good as jail can be. Let's put it that way.
All right.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. All right.
Not good, not fun. But I did write a book while I was in there. I wrote 180 pages front and back, and didn't stop. And I think I should try to get that out, maybe.
Well, why didn't you? Yeah, you should.
I know, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
So I've been told, I did send it to a few people. But
what other myths do we need to debunk here? What else we got? What other things you want to explain to everybody that your point of view?
I'm proud of every year I spent with the Scorpions. I'm still proud to have been there, and I'm still playing drums like a banshee when we do play. Kingdom Come is a hard sell. We were in the early days when we first started, and now so, because we're not like a Slaughter or a Tesla or whatever. We never had those mega hits or whatever, and we're still a hard sell. And we don't have our original singer, which really didn't make any difference. We lost maybe 2 promoters out of like 20 who said, "Oh, well, Lenny's not there, we're not going to take the show." So other than that, I'm feeling pretty good. Other than this, I tripped and fell and cracked my left hip. That was in November.
How long ago was that?
That was in early November. And man, I didn't think anything about it, but I couldn't get up. And I was not racing, but I was walking really fast. to go see the World Series because I was out and about, and I just tripped and fell, man, and sober, thanks. And if I was drunk, I'd be riddled with guilt, or if I'd been drinking, period. But I'm just a klutz anyway. And I fall a gazillion steps to my drum rise. I've fallen up and down more times than I can count, or I've fallen off the drum throne or whatever. And but I lost track of what I was saying, to tell you the truth.
You were rushing to get to the World Series, and
oh yeah, the World Series. Yeah, but I tripped and fell, man. I ended up being in the hospital for like 6 days, man. So they had big time surgery and put one of those rods in my left leg, and my left knee was jacked. I had some fractures up here, hairline, but they're still fractures. I know on my left, the thing in my left arm. But while being here in Louisville, I did go out a couple of times to see some friends play, and I sat and played, and it's no problem. I could go play a 1.5 hour rock show right now. But it is what it is, and I'm cruising every day. I'm up to about a little over a mile walking every day. And
are you like cutting down on the drinking? Is that?
No, I haven't been drinking.
No, really good.
No, part 2 of this story was the reason I came here was to visit my brother and sister, and I was going into a joint here to hang out. Even though I'd been sober for a while, I thought this is a good time. There's nothing booked for a checkup, so I did that, and but that happened the first week that I was at the place, and then I was back at my sister's place. You know, I mean, it was ugly, man. Walking was impossible. I had to use a walker. Then I graduated to a cane. Now I'm no cane, and I'm cruising around, and things are pretty good.
Okay,
good.
And how long have you stopped drinking for?
October 15th.
Wow, look at you. That, you know what?
Yeah, but you know what? The only reason I remember that is because when I checked into the rehab joint this last time, everybody's going, "Hey, I'm blah blah blah. I'm alcoholic," and they recite their date, and they don't do that everywhere. But here they said, "Okay, you need to blah blah blah." I go, "Yeah, but I don't know the date because I don't pay attention to that kind of stuff." They go, "Well, pick one." I go, "Okay." You say October 15th.
October 15th.
And so I did that. So I've been cruising. Look, man, it's nobody's perfect. No, it's not easy. And
of course not.
But hey, man, I'm first to admit, hey, I got a problem. You know, when I was a kid, I had a problem. All I wanted to do was play drums, and everything else, I don't care.
How about like, you know, they say when you stop any addiction, you sort of like,
pick up another
apologize to people that you maybe were, maybe that lady in Dubai. I don't like,
sorry, chick, or even if I call her chick, that'd be, you'd get in trouble. I don't have that amends thing going on.
Amends, that's the word I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, they talk about it in AA meetings. I've been to tons of them, and I'm all for it. Do whatever you want, but I don't have that list. I've never made a list like, I need to call this one and apologize. I've never had that, and there's so many different levels of what you want to call alcoholism, or you're screwed and you're that whatever. I just kind of like, it is what it is, and
Well, the first step is just admitting it, right?
Yeah.
The first step is admitting it, and then once you have admitted, then you can move forward, right?
Yeah. Well, I admitted that many, many years ago and many meetings ago and stuff. I mean, I don't know if anybody out there, if you're ever interested, go to an AA meeting, whether you stop drinking or not. They're actually very interesting. There's a lot to get out of it, good spirituality, and there's always something, and there's always a good story because everybody shares their story. Sometimes it's, okay, you get 5 minutes, you get 5 minutes, or they have a speaker. It's always interesting,
Are you still friends with Athena Lee?
We're civil.
A good civil,
Yeah, she's the mother of these wonderful children, and I talked to my youngest today, and but we don't chit chat or I just touching base, not that kind of a thing. We tried, and when I got left Antigua, the Eric Clapton place, I went and moved back in with her, actually, because I talked to her while I was in there, and that went along for a while. It was pretty good, and then she was doing some job where she didn't get home till like around midnight, and I hear her rustling around in the bathroom, and I know what she's doing in there, and then like, what happens is you gradually go, screw it, it's Thanksgiving, it's Christmas, I'll have a drink. It's just a cliche alcoholic story. Well, I may as well have another one. Okay, blah, blah, blah. And then I won't drink anything for a week. So, there's so many more wonderful things to do with your life that, so anyway, your answer to the question, yeah, she's cool. And her name is actually just Athena. Ali was never her official last name.
What's her, Bass, I guess, right? Is it Bass?
Yes. Yeah, and when I first got with her, we'd be out and about. I go, look, I caught a bass. I know. Hey, but anything.
What was the coolest myth she told you about, like the Motley Crue guys, like over the years? You must have hung out with them, right?
Oh yeah.
Motley Crue guys. Like something that people say about the band that's really not true.
I think the shooting up Coca-Cola thing might have been a made up story, or he said something. He might have said, well, it's not like we were shooting up Coca-Cola, I think Nikki said something to that effect, but it takes it and gets twisted. And then all of a sudden said, yeah, they ran out of what they were doing. So they had to resort to Coca-Cola. So who knows, and yeah, you never know about that stuff. And quite honestly, it's never like I sat around asking, we'd have Thanksgiving together or Christmas, go over for Christmas, and the kids and all that. It's not like I ever it's just like a regular family. Well, not really regular, getting together and just
I'd be asking all kinds of questions. I'd be in there going, what's up with that? What's up with that?
Yeah, I mean,
I probably wouldn't. I'm just kidding. I would. I get it.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah, I would.
I like your Armored Saint shirt, by the way.
Thank you.
Those guys are great.
Yeah. So what else you got?
Are we talking about Motley Crue?
We could talk about anything you want. Motley Crue's cool.
What's you got anything to promote? Is there anything?
Oh yeah, of course. Well, like I said, we started back on the Kingdom Come thing, and man, COVID really set us back. The next year we picked up shows, and then this last year was kind of like it was so iffy. We were making up a few shows, and like I said, since COVID, bat phone. Since COVID happened, sorry about that. Since COVID hit, promoters have to be doubly careful about who they book, and they want a guarantee. And Kingdom Come is maybe a risky type of a band. However, we're great. We show up, we play, and we leave. And so there's some talk about some stuff coming up. We're just trying to figure out what we really want to do,
What about any other new music that you're working on? Like
not really. Bands? I mean, I doodle around. My sister has a piano, and I play guitar, of course. Well, if you would call it playing guitar, I suck at it. But I mean, just it's this whole thing here. What I did coming here, and the tripping and falling. I said, oh no, I got to focus on this because I can multitask when I'm playing drums and I can sing and all that. But for the most part, I got to kind of really focus on one thing at a time. And I've been doing this. I mean, I've done 15 physical therapy, whatever thing, massage where they do put electrodes on your back in 5 weeks. That's 3 a week. Now I'm down just doing 2 a week. And today I went to the dentist.
Nice. Cleaning.
Oh, it's an ongoing.
Okay. What are your personal favorite drum tracks with the Scorpions? I guess as a catalog.
You mean all Scorpions or from my drum tracks?
You could do both. You could do from yours, and you could do from just in general.
My favorite Scorpion song is that I Can't Stay. I had to bother them and go, please, let's play that song, and they didn't like it. And I love my drums on Unbreakable. I really love them. Herman had some great tracks, man. And, some of the early stuff has some really inventive 70s style drumming that's, but gosh, man, I'll tell you what, the orchestra thing was pretty difficult. And the acoustic thing I had to really adapt. So all those are understated type albums. The challenge was really there. And then we'd go play it live, and we toured playing with orchestras all over the place. That's, you really got to stay on your toes. So any of that stuff I'm super proud of. And I always go back to Unbreakable, because man, that album just kills it. That song Love 'Em or Leave 'Em. Thank you. I might have code with it.
I'm trying to think of I'm Leaving You. I'm trying to think of what the drums do on that song.
Well, it starts off like this.
Have you ever met Herman?
Oh, yeah,
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Going back to the beginning, we did that first Monsters of Rock tour. It was Kingdom Come, we opened, then Metallica, then Dokken, then Scorpions, then Van Halen. And Scorpions and Kingdom Come, we were label mates, so we stayed at the same hotel a lot because we were all on Polymer Records. And you hang out, and then during that time period, we had a lot of nights off. So we were having dinner with the Scorpions at least once a week, because you're on the same label. And then just, Herman was always around. He was always a super nice guy to me. And, he's great and a good drummer to beat.
Yeah. And you know what? He was their sort of translator, which you kind of became in a way, right? The English, right? Herman was helping with the lyrics all the time.
Yeah, that's why he ended up writing some of the lyrics.
Rock You Like a Hurricane.
Yeah, I know. But what's cool about that, on one hand, they had a quirky approach to English lyrics, which fit with their sound and everything. And they were saying words and singing words that you normally, like us Americans, or in your case, you Canadians.
Canadians.
Sorry,
Dynamite. What should we write after? Dynamite.
No, I know.
Dynamite again.
Sorry, no, I didn't.
That's Alan's favorite song.
I made that mistake live at a drum solo once in Canada somewhere. Yeah,
All right, see, I was at a show. Okay, Gas Mask says, I was at a show. I was at the Philly Monster of Rock show in '88. That show was stupid hot. They broke out fire hoses and dozed the crowd. It was humid, and it was like 100 degrees that day.
Oh, yeah, I remember many like that. And that Philadelphia show, I mean, these were all stadiums, and it was sold out almost everywhere. But oh no, Pittsburgh at the Three Rivers Stadium didn't sell out. Oh, that's right. There was only 36,000 people there. So I mean, it was an incredible tour, and it was mind blowing to say the least. But I remember we played in Akron, Ohio, 2 days at the Rubber Dome or whatever, Rubber Arena, whatever it was called. It was outdoors. And I remember that specifically, 2 days in a row. It must have been 110.
Wow.
So.
Ask him, K-Man says, ask him who had the idea to do his rock and roll t-shirts with the tattoo live. Blew my mind. Yeah.
I got the tattoo, the Rock and Roll Forever tattoo, which of course, and yes, it hurt like big time. And then, well, actually, I was trying to design a shirt, and my drum tech, Francis, who's actually now the drummer with Buck Cherry, which I'm so thrilled he got that gig. He was a really good artist. He could draw anything, and he came and showed me a few logos a few different times. We tweaked a few things, and we ended up going with that, and that's how it all came to be. And I'm not sure, to tell you the truth, now that you asked me, I'm not sure if the shirt was first or the thing on my back was first. But either way, it has a message.
All right. What's going on with Lenny Wolf? Any idea?
No idea at all. I know he lived on a boat for years because he loves being on a boat and riding around, and because there's more rivers and tributaries in Hamburg, Germany, and any other city in the world. Seriously, they count like there's like 4,000 something all over the place. So he enjoys his stuff. He goes, J-Mo, I'm just going to stay home and hang out on my boat. And I think him and his girl run a hotel or something. I'm not sure. Great singer though.
Somebody asked about your tweets. You regret any of your tweets sort of that you had?
Of course.
You don't have to get into the tweets themselves, but I'm just saying, do you regret any of them?
Not really, because I try to keep a low profile on that and just kind of like, I like this thing with Carmine and Nikki recently. You say one little thing and it's taken out of context and it turns into like, oh, did you hear what Carmine said about Motley Crue? They're all using tapes. Well, geez, they're not the first band somebody said that about. I mean, I remember ELO in the late 70s, early 80s touring, and they had tapes, big time. That doesn't mean Motley Crue is, but things like that, I stay away from. I'm just kind of across the board. Anything about animals, anything about rock and roll, I'm hip to. And I follow a lot of people you probably wouldn't think I'd follow. And so go to my at J Kottak, Kottak out there in TV land, and hit me up, man. And I actually do, and on my Facebook as well, try to respond to every message.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know. And I guess, is there any last stuff there, Alan, you want to mention, ask?
No. I'm glad you're recuperating, and that's going well from your falling down, and you're feeling good, and you're sober, and we got some exciting, hopefully that'll work out with Kingdom Come, and maybe see you do a small tour or something, make some money.
Absolutely, and mostly what we were setting out to do was to get on festivals, like we did the M3 festival a few years ago, and they put us on kind of right in the middle, which is about the 5 o'clock time or 6 o'clock time, which is great because everybody in the audience isn't plowed yet and they'll remember you. And then we get to hang out for the rest of the night and watch everybody else and goof off. But getting in a van and just cruising around the country playing at concert bars, which is what a lot of guys have to do, that doesn't appeal to me. It's I'm a creature of comfort, but I don't mind getting all sweaty and dirty either. So we'll see what happens with this Kingdom Come thing. Any ideas out there? Let me know.
What about actually? Here's the last question. You supported Wasp on their second album, right? What was that tour like?
Kingdom Come.
Yeah, Kingdom Come supported Wasp. Do you remember that? Or maybe you weren't in the band by then. It was after the second album.
I don't think so, and I don't think Lenny would agree to playing on a bill with Wasp. I know we toured with Black Sabbath, which was phenomenal, and that was the Black Sabbath with Tony Martin on vocals, and yeah, it was cool. But I don't recall playing any shows with Wasp.
Maybe it was like after it was on the third album.
Maybe it could have been. You never know.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I think everybody out there enjoyed the chat. Thank you for being honest and straight up. And
man, I mean, well, I appreciate you guys taking the time. We got a Jimmy K, we got an Alan Dixon. So you're the cousin of Jerry Dixon, right? And, we never mentioned Warrant. I just want to say, man, that my time with Warrant was excellent. I'm still sad about Janie Lane, and that Ultraphobic album is still one of my favorites, as well as Led Zeppelin Physical Graffiti. And Grand Funk Railroad Live, man, is like my drumming Bible. Anybody out there who wants to learn how to play drums, AC/DC Back in Black, Grand Funk Railroad Live, Physical Graffiti. That's all you need to know.
Learn about Rush. How about Rush?
Yeah. Rush? Okay. No, I love Rush. I went through, when I saw Rush 3 times before I even moved to LA, and I had the full on double bass. I had all that stuff, and I went from that one extreme to another, and actually it was Lenny's insistence when we got Kingdom Come going that I only play full bass drum. He goes, "Don't you want to look different?" I go, "I never really thought about it. I just play double bass." So that's when I switched to single kick. So
would you go see, would you go see the Scorpions now? Would it feel kind of awkward?
No, I saw him. I saw him. I want to say 3 years ago when they played in Anaheim. Me and the guys from Kingdom Come, me and Rick and his wife and my girlfriend Tina and a few others. So we all went down and saw him. And you got to remember, I was also really good friends with a lot of the crew guys because, I'd hang around. I'd go bother them. They're working on the guitars. I go, "Hey, man." They go, "Go away." And the crew guys, were great. And, it was great seeing everyone, and I'd go see them again. I don't think they're coming around anytime soon.
Well, you know what? I think both you, Mickey, and yourself did a great job when you played with the Scorpions. You both did a
Well,
great
thank you
job.
very much. I appreciate the compliment because it was just a phenomenal time, and I had a lot of great direction from the great producers we worked with, and from Rudolph and Klaus and Matthias, and it somehow worked very well. I'm super proud of all of it.
Was Dieter really tough to work with? Did you ever work with?
I never really worked with him. He
You
came
didn't on
around,
any albums.
or did we? No,
No.
he came
He was
around.
quite the disciplinary guy. You know, he was quite. You know,
Yeah, but you know what happened with that? We were going to go do a rock album and get Dieter, and he came a few times, and something happened, and we ended up with doing it with oh god dang it, God, I can't think of his name. But anyway, we ended up not doing it with Dieter, and
all right, okay.
so it would have been
on that note.
great.
And here's the last message to you. Stay sober, James. It's better path. Stay healthy. That's the last message to you.
And they get a double too.
With that. Double horns right there. Double horns.
Yeah, and you guys, thank you so much for having me. And I don't know if anybody's ever said this. When doing an interview is like great therapy for myself. Doing any interview, whether you talk for 5 minutes, 50 minutes, or whatever. And it reminds you of things, and it keeps you focused on what you should be doing as opposed to what you did do or whatever. So, but
that's why we're here. We're here for positive reinforcement. So you can, like you said, stay sober, stay on a healthy path, because there'll probably be a lot of goodness, going that way.
Yeah, and again, I've talked to a few people about this and that and all that, and playing with this or that, and I've been asked to play on a few, it's not so much a tour, but it's what I was asked to do, which was going to be lengthy. I didn't like their music, and it's a little difficult, I can't do it just to go play something I don't like. And yeah, great, give me the money. I never have been able to do that.
Yeah, that's got to be hard.
Yeah, I'll keep you guys posted. We can talk on the interweb.
Sure.
And
good old interweb. As we're hula hooping.
Yeah.
Thank you. Great talking to you, James. All the best.
All right, all the best.
Stay well.
Stay healthy.
All right. Have a great day.